The highly anticipated phase one of the China trade deal is now in effect. It starts today. But growing fears of the coronavirus spreading in China are still weighing in on the markets, as you can see today with the Dow. How could the virus impact this trade deal? Here now is former Trump campaign senior trade advisor Curtis Ellis. Great to see you, Curtis. So they clearly, the factories haven't been open for weeks in China. They're slowing down. They don't have the income they used to. Are they going to be able to fulfill the requirement of phase one of buying all of these U.S. goods?
Well, let's be clear. The agreement says they have 2 years to buy this $200 billion more, $200 billion increase in purchases over 2 years. Clearly, the Chinese government is setting the stage for saying, well, we're not going to do it right away. The Global Times, which is a propaganda organ of the Chinese Communist Party, has already said that the coronavirus means that we may not be able to fulfill our obligations right away, and there have been other noises coming out of the Chinese government to that effect. We also see on the ground, the Chinese government has tried to invoke force majeure. That is an act of God, a natural disaster, prohibits us from taking delivery of liquefied natural gas. They don't have the workers at the ports to offload the ships from overseas. Natural gas happens to be one of the products that is specifically mentioned in the phase one deal. And I've written about this, Article 7.6 in the deal has a clause in there. Article 7.6 says if there is a natural disaster or other unforeseeable circumstance which prevents the parties from complying with this deal, we will consult on this.
Curtis.
Now, of course, you know, they signed this deal January 15th. They already knew they had this coronavirus outbreak, so you can't say it was an unforeseeable circumstance.
Curtis, question to one of the points that you made. I believe it was Thursday the market dropped because the Chinese said they were looking at the number of people infected with the virus, and they were looking at it in a different way. The number jumped tenfold all of a sudden. Do you think one thing has to do with the other?
Well, I think that the markets, they ought to be looking at this fact, and I know Mohamed El-Erian has spoken about this. Right now, we've heard that GM plants in Flint, Michigan and Arlington, Texas could be forced to shut down because they can't get auto parts from China. That's already the case in South Korea. So much of our sourcing and subcomponents are coming from China that there could be a ripple effect. So while we're looking at sales to China, right, all the Apple stores are closed in China. That accounts for 15% of the retail sales. 10% of the shipments of iPhones globally are going to be delayed or cut because the Foxconn factories in China have no workers. Where else is this showing up? And when you see the real estate market in China collapse because nobody can get out to buy apartments, how's that going to affect the banking sector in China? How far will these ripples spread, and what's going to be the effect? These are serious questions. We really need to start reconsidering the whole architecture of the global economy, where we're dependent on China as a sole source supplier for pharmaceuticals. If we ever needed face masks in this country because of a big outbreak, they're all coming from China.
That's right.
And China's not going to let us have them.
I just got to throw this in. I know, Capri, you want to get in here, but my wife, about a month and a half ago, she ordered some face masks. We ordered them through Amazon. We didn't know where they were from, but we just got a note from Amazon saying because the Communist government of China has requisitioned all the face masks, we can't send you yours. We'll give you your money back. So you're absolutely right on that. Sorry, Capri, I had to throw that in.
No, that's a very of the supply chain and parts coming from China, and that may not happen. Have we given any thought to how we can actually utilize this crisis to improve production and increase production of some of these parts in the supply chain domestically in the United States? Maybe this is somehow a blessing in disguise to help the manufacturing sector domestically, which, you know, Deloitte is saying is going to be under projections in 2020 from 2.2% to about 1.3% in GDP growth in the manufacturing sector.
Capri, I could not agree with you more. I have been saying for decades, we need to bring these supply chains back to the United States. Supply chain sounds so airy-fairy. We need to make it in the United States. There is no reason why we can't, why we shouldn't. And even David Ricardo, one of the architects back in 1817, he wrote that the owners of capital should invest in and have a natural tendency to invest in their home country, even if it means making a little less profit, but you will have control of your capital. We now see the dangers of investing in a faraway country, strange governments, new laws, no control, and it has a direct effect on the bottom line when you have a disruption like this.
I want to bring it back home here because Larry Kudlow is giving Fox Business some more details on the president's Tax Cuts 2.0 plan. Let's play the soundbite.
Are you working on another tax cut plan right now, Larry?
Yes, we are. Tax Cuts 2.0. In a meeting in the Oval, I guess 2 days ago, he looked at me and he said, let's get it out by September. We'd love to have a 10% middle-class tax cut, and we would love to strengthen and make permanent some of the other tax cuts.
So, Curtis, every single Democrat running for president has a plan to raise taxes. Will Trump have a tax cut plan to offer voters before the election?
He certainly will, and let's bring this all together here in a harmonic convergence. In addition to making a middle-class tax cut permanent, we saw on the first tax cut 1.0 a 100% write-off for new investment in plants and equipment. Let's put that in this 2.0, and that will be a further incentive for companies to bring their supply chains back to the United States. You get 100% write-off to build that factory, to build that auto parts factory here in the United States.
Curtis Ellis, we have to leave it at that. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. And by the way, don't miss Maria Bartiromo's full interview with Larry Kudlow. It's tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern only, right here on Fox Business.